वेलकम टू वी लर्न में आपका स्वागत है। सब्जेक्ट इंडियन फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम, सेशन नंबर 8। टॉपिक कवर्ड इन दिस सेशन: कैपिटल मार्केट 1, न्यू इश्यू मार्केट, various concept of capital market, and now capital market 1, new issue market. The process of industrial growth requires the development of capital market, which provides long-term finance to entrepreneurs. The capital market is a wide term and includes all transactions involving long-term funds. The development banks, commercial banks, financial institutions, and stock exchange are its important components. The Security and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, is the regulator over the capital market. The security market is divided into two segments. Number 1, primary market, and number 2, secondary market. The main difference between these two lies in the fact that while the formal deals with securities, which the issuer's issuance or issues for the first time, the latter deals in the existing securities. Methods of flotation of new issues. There are three ways in which a company may raise capital in the primary market. Number 1, public issues. Number 2, right issues. Number 3, private placement. अब देखिए, नंबर 1, पब्लिक इश्यूज क्या होता है। प्राइमरी मार्केट के अंदर पब्लिक इश्यू जो होता है, जिसको हम आईपीओ कहते हैं। आईपीओ मीन्स इनिशियल पब्लिक ऑफर, कि कंपनी डायरेक्टली पब्लिक को अगर शेयर्स इश्यू करती है, डायरेक्ट पब्लिक से फंड कलेक्ट करती है फर्स्ट टाइम, तो उसको हम पब्लिक इश्यू या इनिशियल पब्लिक ऑफर कहते हैं। राइट इश्यू मीन्स कंपनी एग्जिस्टिंग शेयर होल्डर्स को फर्दर और एडिशनल शेयर इश्यू करती है एज पर द राइट्स ऑफ देम, तो वो आपके राइट इश्यू कहलाते हैं। दैट मीन्स जिसके पास जितने शेयर होते हैं उसके प्रोपोर्शनेटली हम उसको शेयर्स दे देते हैं, तो ये आपका राइट इश्यू होता है। इसके बाद प्राइवेट प्लेसमेंट। प्राइवेट प्लेसमेंट का मीन्स क्या होता है कि जब कोई भी फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन, कोई बड़ा इन्वेस्टर कंप्लीट फाइनेंस या कंप्लीट शेयर्स परचेज कर लेता है, तो वो आपका प्राइवेट प्लेसमेंट कहलाता है। Now public issue in the words. The most important mode of issuing securities is by issuing prospectus to the public. सबसे पहली बात होती है पब्लिक इश्यू में कि हम प्रोस्पेक्टस इश्यू करते हैं। अगर कंपनी की इंटरनल बात करें तो सबसे पहले कंपनी रेड हियरिंग प्रोस्पेक्टस इश्यू करती है, और रेड हियरिंग प्रोस्पेक्टस मीन्स जो कैपिटल क्लाउज होता है कंपनी का, या कंपनी को कितनी कैपिटल इश्यू करनी है, क्या उसकी ऑथराइज्ड कैपिटल है, वो ब्लैंक होता है। उसको फर्दर मीटिंग्स में डिसाइड किया जाता है और मर्चेंट बैंकर के थ्रू ड्यू डिलिजेंस सर्टिफिकेट कंपनी इशू कराती है, उसके बाद फाइनल प्रॉस्पेक्टस इशू करती है। तो इफ द इश्यूज हैज बीन मेड फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम बाय अ कॉर्पोरेट बॉडी, इट इज नोन एज इनिशियल पब्लिक ऑफर। IPO. The procedure followed in cases of public issue is as follows. Invitation to subscribe the shares is made through a document called prospectus. दूसरे शब्दों में हम ये कह सकते हैं कि पब्लिक को जिस डॉक्यूमेंट्स के थ्रू हम इनवाइट करते हैं इन्वेस्टमेंट करने के लिए या सब्सक्राइब करने के लिए, वो डॉक्यूमेंट्स आपका प्रोस्पेक्टस होता है। The application on the prescribed form along with the application money are invited by the company. The subscription list is open for a period of 3 to 7 days or more. Prospectus also contained the conditions and guarantee or various provisions of the issues related to the public, by which the investors is clearly know about the subscription, उसमें face value of the shares and terms of the amount deposits, like at the time of application how much amount is required by the company, at the time of allotment how much amount is required, at the time of to making the first call, then final call or whatever the call, ये सब कुछ उसमें प्रिंट होता है, एक्सप्लेन्ड होता है। And our right issue, a right issue involves selling security in the primary market by issuing right to the existing shareholders। जैसा मैंने आपको अभी बताया कि जो हमारे पुराने शेयर होल्डर्स होते हैं, हम उन्हीं को जो है शेयर्स अलॉट करते हैं और सेल्स करते हैं। इन दिस मेथड द कंपनी गिव्स द प्रिविलेज टू इट्स एग्जिस्टिंग शेयर होल्डर्स फॉर ए सब्सक्रिप्शन ऑफ न्यू शेयर्स ऑन प्रोराटा बेसिस। प्रोराटा बेसिस मीन्स प्रोपोर्शनेटली or as per the quality of the shares or as per the holding of the shares, हम जो है एक रेशियो बनाते हैं और उस रेशियो के अकॉर्डिंग राइट इशू टू द एग्जिस्टिंग शेयर्स कर देते हैं, एग्जिस्टिंग शेयर होल्डर्स को दे देते हैं। अ कंपनी मेकिंग ए राइट्स इशू सेंड्स ए लेटर ऑफ ऑफर along with a composite applications form consisting of 4 parts. कंपनी क्या करती है, एग्जिस्टिंग शेयर होल्डर्स को एक एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म भेजती है जिसके 4 पार्ट होते हैं और उसमें एक ऑफर लेटर होता है, क्योंकि हो सकता है कि एग्जिस्टिंग शेयर होल्डर्स एग्री ना हो उस चीज़ से या वो फर्दर इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं करना चाहते हैं सेम कंपनी में, तो इसलिए ऑफर लेटर इसके साथ लगाते हैं और इसके 4 पार्ट फॉर्म के होते हैं, ABCD। पार्ट ए मीन ए इज मेंट फॉर एक्सेप्टेंस ऑफ द ऑफर। पार्ट ए के अंदर ऑफर एक्सेप्टेंस की बात होती है। पार्ट बी इज यूज्ड इफ द शेयर होल्डर्स वांट टू रिनाउंस हिज राइट्स इन फेवर ऑफ समवन एल्स। पार्ट बी के अंदर होता है कि शेयर होल्डर जो है किसी और के नाम में अपने शेयर्स को ट्रांसफ़र कराना चाहता है, उस चीज़ के लिए अनाउंसमेंट करे। And now characteristics of issue. The number of shares offered on right basis for each existing shareholders is determined by the issuing company. The entitlement of the existing shareholders is determined on the basis of existing shareholding. For example, One right shares may be offered for every 2 or 3 shares held by the shareholders. The issue price per right share is left to the discretion of the company. नंबर 3, राइट्स आर नेगोशिएबल. जो राइट्स आपका है नेगोशिएबल होता है. द होल्डर्स ऑफ राइट्स कैन ट्रांसफर दीज राइट्स शेयर्स टू एनी अदर पर्सन. दैट इज ही कैन रिनाउंस हिज राइट्स, जो मैंने अभी आपको बताया, जिसमें पार्ट सी होता है, उसमें रिनाउंस की बात कही जाती है. टू सब्सक्राइब टू दीज शेयर्स in favor of any other person who can apply to the company for the allotment of these shares in his or her name. Private placement. A public issue is a costly affairs involving press advertisement, brokers, fees, and press conference, etc. Therefore, some of the companies find it easy and cheaper to raise funds through private placement of bonds and shares. In this method, the securities are issued to some selected investors like banks or financial institutions. The private placement agreement is undertaken when the issue size is not very big. ये तभी होता है जब इश्यू का साइज बहुत बड़ा नहीं होता. एंड एवरी फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस आर एबल टू टेक ओवर such kind of issues, and the issuers does not want to spend much on floating the issues. Private placement market has grown phenomenally. Characteristics of investment: accessibility. Whether it is public limited company or a private limited company, or whether it is listed company or an unlisted one, it can easily access the private placement market. It can accommodate issues of smaller size, whereas public issues does not permit issue below a certain minimum size. Flexibility. There is a greater flexibility in working out the terms of issue. A private placement results in the sale of securities by a company to one or few investors. In case of private placement, there is no need for a formal prospectus as well as underwriting arrangements. Generally, the terms of the issue are negotiated between the company issuing securities and the investors. Speed. The time required for completing a public issue is generally 6 months or more because of several formalities that have been or have to be gone through. On the other hand, a private placement requires lesser time. Lower issue cost. A public issue entailed several statutory and non-statutory expenses associated with underwriting, brokerage, etc. The sum of these costs used to work out even up to 10% of issues for a company going for a private placement, it is substantially less. Book building process. A new system to determine the amount of premium to be charged by a company on its new issues was introduced in October 1995 when SEBI permitted the system known as book building. It is a pricing mechanism wherein new issues are priced on the basis of demand feedback. Under this system, the price of the new issue is based on real-time feedback from the investors. Now, mechanism adopted under the book building: a draft prospectus containing all information except the price and the number of securities is filed by the company with SEBI. A lead merchant banker to the issue is appointed as book runner. The book runner will circulate copies of the prospectus amongst the institutional investors and underwriters, inviting of from subscription to the security. The book runner maintains a record of the offers received from the institutional investors and underwriters, maintaining the price they are ready to pay and the numbers of securities they intend to buy. On the basis of these offers, the company and the book runner will determine the price of the security. The price so determined will be the same for both placement position and the public issue. Thereafter, the underwriting agreement is entered into and prospectus is filed with the registrar of companies. One day prior to the public issue, institutional investors are required to submit applications forms along with money to the extent the securities are proposed to be allotted to them. Reforms in primary capital market: minimum offer to public. SEBI disclosure and investor protection guidelines required a minimum offering of 25% of post-issue capital to the public. This requirement was gradually relaxed to 10% to companies in all sectors. For this purpose, SEBI also kept the minimum offering size at rupees 100 crores and retained the existing limits of minimum public offering of 20 lakh shares. The companies which are unable to meet these conditions are required to make a minimum public offering of 25%. Number 2, lock-in period. The provision for lock-in applicable to IPO have been rationalized. Lock-in period or minimum promoters contribution of 20% continues to be 3 years. The balance of the entire pre-IPO capital held by promoters and others shall have lock-in period of 1 year. And from the date of allotment of the IPOs, the shares issued on preferential basis by a listed company to any person shall have a lock in a period of 1 year, term from the date of their allotment. Reform in primary capital market: allotment of shares. The time for finalizing the allotment of shares has been reduced from 30 days to 15 days in case issues are made on book building basis. Merchant bankers have been brought under SEBI regulatory framework and a code of conduct is issued for them. Companies are required to disclose all material facts and specific risk factors associated with their projects while making public issues through the prospectus. Reform in primary capital market: prohibition has been imposed on payment of any direct or indirect discounts or commissions to person receiving any firm allotment of shares. The requirement of 90% minimum subscription in case of offer for sale is no longer applicable. Underwriting of the issue is made optional subject to the condition that if an issue was not underwritten and was not able to collect at least 90% of amount offered to public as subscription, the entire amount will be refundable to investors. And now do it yourself. What is book building process? And question number 2, explain the procedure for reform of primary markets. That's it from session number 7. Thank you.